Hey, nice to see you again. Welcome to Friendship Shaving. Today I'm going to be using a Wilkinson Sword brush available at supermarkets here in the UK, and it says on it perfect for a very British shave. Now this one was kindly sent to me by my buddy in South Wales, Thomas Nolan. Diolch yn fawr iawn, Thomas. It's much appreciated. So I'll be exploring that. It's £5 or less. So what do you get for your money's worth when you buy a brush like this with a good name from a supermarket? It's a boar bristle brush, as you can see, but it's not got very much backbone. And it's got a 20mm base to the knot, and it is 50mm high. So we'll get that soaking straight away. Put some water in the Old Spice mug and we'll get that soaking. Now today's soap I'm going to be using is Solaris shaving soap, which is peppermint, lemon and rosewood. Really nice soap, I really like this. So a British soap, no less. And I've got some water on my puck. I've had that soaking, so we'll get going with that in a moment. And I hope you'll indulge me today because I'm going to be using a straight razor which I've had restored recently. It is a Joseph Rodgers straight razor, Cutlers to their Majesties, and very, very nice razor. I really like this one. So, as I say, I hope you'll indulge me today while I shave with my straight. Now, I'll just rinse my face. Again, I'll put some of this bloom water on my skin. Now I'm going to drain the water from the sink. And just put my wet flannel over the edge of the sink there, ready to use. Now the brush has been soaked. We'll give that a squeeze and a shake and put it straight onto the puck for about 30 seconds. Now I know this Phoenix and Bow soap really lathers up very nicely. So we'll see how we go with this very soft knot. I'm very pleased to receive this. It's a very nice looking brush. I just wonder if Wilkinson Sword, which nowadays seem to me to be a budget brand, whether they have, used the historic name just to put out a cheap brush, and also wanted to explore whether it was actually good enough to shave with. So we shall see. Because for £5, and I think it was £3.50 in one of the big supermarkets, maybe it's enough to get you started. If you were looking for, if you were new to the hobby or new to shaving with a brush, maybe this would be enough. So I think that I have got plenty of soap on there, as you can see. It looks a bit of a small knot, but I think that's just because the handle is large. If I look at Cynthia, for example, which looks to have quite a big knot, you can see they're actually about the same size. And my horsehair V-long, similar, looks quite large, but in actual fact they're about the same size. The only difference is that these are 22mm across the base. and this Wilkinson Sword one is 20mm. So put some water on my face and we'll get started and see how it works. Now it's very soft, which I find to be unusual because it's a boar bristle brush, and my boar bristle, I've got a 24mm boar knot sat in a rubber set shaving brush, and it's not soft like this at all, but it's very densely packed around the base, and this one I don't think is. However, it does seem to be working okay. It feels quite nice. I've got a little bit of scritch to it. It's certainly very soft when you use a brush action. So on first impressions I would say that it's actually not bad at all. I'm going to get a little drop more water in here, simply because it's quite hot today and because I'm using the straight, and I tend to take a little bit longer, and I don't want the lather to dry on my face. I've got a bit of an Anglo-Saxon shave today because the brush, although it says perfect for a British shave, I believe is made in Germany. We're going to be using some Nivea Sensitive today, and I believe that is also made in Germany. But the razor and the soap is very much made in Britain. Now, my tip, if you take a tip from a relative beginner to straight shaving, is to have your hands bone dry. I don't find there's any need for alum block on your fingers or anything like that. Just have your fingers bone dry. And I protect the top end of my razor, and I only put water on the blade. And we'll get started. Now just make sure. There we are. Okay, let's go. Now obviously there may be a little less talking today because I'm using the straight. I'm sure you won't mind that. I used the best towel to clean this the other day, and the best towel's now got a hole in it. It is a little bit awkward with glasses on. Do you know, I love this razor. It is it's almost a full wedge. If I show you, you might be able to see. There we are. There, I think that's, you can see there maybe, it's nearly a full wedge anyway. Now my other straight razor that I've got is J.A. Henkel's hollow ground. Now I wouldn't have thought that there would be much difference in terms of shaving between a hollow ground razor and this full wedge razor, but there is. There's a massive difference, and it surprised me. The hollow ground razor is much more flexible on your face. And the wedge razor, this one I'm using, is a little bit heavier, a little less flexibility, and I find it much, much easier to shave with. There's much less cuts and nicks, and I find it altogether a nicer experience. And I think this Joseph Rodgers razor is, is really one of the exemplar razors, or the exemplar brands that came out of Sheffield. By the way guys, I almost forgot, there is now a friendship shaving group on Facebook, and I'd love to see you there. Share anything you like, no advertising please, but if you've got vintage gear, I'd love to see photos of that, or interesting links and articles to various sites, your shave of the day photos, perhaps take a photo of you all lathered up with your shave face on. So Friendship Shaving is a new group on Facebook, and I'd love to see you there. Now I have to say, this little brush is not too bad at all. Better than I imagined actually. Now, second pass. We're doing quite well today. It normally takes me ages with my straight razor. Do you know, steel is still produced under the Joseph Rodgers name in Sheffield today, although they are owned by the Eggington Group. But Joseph Rodgers were established in 1682. Imagine that, and they went on in their own name until the late 70s. So they've got a terrific history. They were appointed the royal warrant by 5 different reigning monarchs of Britain. And not only that, they were appointees to the King and Queen of Sweden, to various Shahs of Persia, to Maharajas of India, the list goes on, to Prince Leopold, the Duke of Albany, who I believe was the prince that was assassinated, whose assassination started the First World War, I believe. And also they were appointees to General Grant from America. So it seems they really were, in their time, the superstars of the cutler world, you know, really well regarded. Now my razor, let me just show you. I've had new scales put on. It's a dark horn. And I've had a light horn wedge put in with a little piece of brass on either side. New pins. The blade has been cleaned and polished, although to be honest, it was in pretty good condition to start with. I'm just looking at the dates because I think this one is between 1830 and 1837, although there seems to be a lot of discussion about the dates of Joseph Rodgers razors online. So I'm still trying to find out a bit more information about that, but certainly that is a 19th century straight razor. And this is one of the things I love about our passion, is that you can take a razor from the 19th century, have it cleaned up. I know a top guy in the UK. If you're looking for someone in the UK to hone your razor and restore it, you know, let me know, because I know a guy I can put you in touch with. Top guy, does a brilliant job. Dean, fantastic mate. So here we are, back to the brush, and we've lost a hair because I've got it in my mouth somewhere. Now we're getting a little bit sparse with the lather, but I guess the first question I've answered is, if you were interested in getting into traditional shaving with a brush and they had this product at the supermarket, you could go out, buy it, and you could get started, and it would work quite reasonably well. I do feel, as this is their limited edition issue, that they could have really made it something special. Even by doing something simple as putting in a bigger knot, perhaps a good synthetic knot would have really made the brush shine. And maybe if they'd gone with a 22mm knot instead of a 20, it would have just stood out a little bit more. But as it is, it's a very cheap brush. You don't get much for £5, and if you can get one for £3.50, as I mentioned, well, I think you're on a winner. You know, if you haven't got much money and you're looking to start shaving with a brush, this will certainly do the job. As it says, perfect for a very British shave. I'm sure there was no unintended insult that it's such a cheap quality brush. Intended for us Brits. But look, hey, it's doing the job, isn't it? It's doing the job. So I might keep this and re-knot it and see if I can make it better again. You can see it's got the red, white and blue around the base on the bottom, and Wilkinson Sword brand on the back. Not bad. Bit awkward around that chin area. Do you know, I still count myself as very much a beginner with the straight razor, but honestly, I feel like I'm coming along very nicely. I've certainly improved since I started using this full wedge. Amazing what a difference that makes. Now I'm just going to put some additional suds underneath there, because we are drying out a little bit. It's very hot in this room today. against the grain, which I find difficult. I think maybe half the barrel. When you're going against the grain on your neck, is that you don't need to go as softly as you think you do. Maybe. Oh, wet hand. Protect the razor at all costs. There we go. Do you know my mother, who was born in 1937, remembers her grandfather using a straight razor? And he must have shaved nearly all of his face with it before he flicked his lather into the bowl. Now back then she seems to remember that they didn't have taps like we have, you know, you had a bowl to shave in. Interesting, eh? Now there we go, very nice shave. I'll just rinse my Wilkinson Sword brush. And I put that up there so you can see it. So my verdict on the brush is that it's a little cheap, but for the money I don't think you can complain. It works. It's a boar bristle knot. It splays well. Altogether, it was not as bad as I thought it might be. So, fair play. Now, I've got my witch hazel, and thank you to everybody that wrote in telling me about witch hazel. I now know what it does, and actually I've come to love it. In the week that I've been using it, my problem areas under here have been much less problematic. And for those of you that don't know, just like I didn't, it's an astringent and it closes your pores and tightens the skin. And because of that, it's really good for nicks and cuts. Now I'm going to take my glasses off because it helps with irritation, but it also helps with the bags under your eyes, and goodness knows I need that. It removes excess oil from your skin as well. So altogether it's a rather great product, and I'm so glad that I asked the question, because you guys well, you guys know, don't you? You know, you let me know what it was all about, and it's fantastic. So thank you very much. And you know, it's questions like that. If you don't know what you're using, but the only way to find out is to ask somebody. So I do hope that the Facebook group will aid people in that respect. Going to use the good stuff. Nivea Men Sensitive Balm. I haven't used this for a little while. It's good to have it out. I've nearly finished that pot, but I've got another one waiting in the cupboard. Because it does feel good when you put it on. My witch hazel stings a little bit, so I think mine must be mixed with a little bit of alcohol. But it's not a bad sting, it's quite nice in fact. And some of you guys very cleverly, you know, you buy the cheap unscented one from your local pharmacy or chemist, and you add your own essential oils, which I think is a brilliant idea. Oh, that feels good. There we are done for another week. Thank you for joining me. If you haven't subscribed, I would love you to subscribe, and I could see you more often. God forbid, you might be thinking. So I shall now, off camera, clean my razor. It will be wiped, cleaned. I'll have tissue on it to make sure there's no moisture in it, and then I'll strop it, and then it will get put away in a very dry place for next time. It's really important, I've found, on my ankles to protect in here, because if anywhere, that's where the rust is going to be, because you won't see it. So thank you for indulging me in my straight razor shave. You all take care of yourselves, and hopefully I'll find you within Facebook. You take care now. Have a great week all. Bye bye.